Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris. Not with me today is Chris Jr., as is the norm lately. He's got his own driver's license, his own car. He's out doing his own thing. And you may have noticed that I'm not in a Mustang. I'm not even in a Ford of any kind. I'm in something called a Jeep. A Jeep. Yeah, it's a very slow, boxy thing that is not like a Mustang in any way at all. I'm in my daughter's 2009 Jeep Wrangler. Yep, see? Not a Mustang. Not even a Ford. It's weird. My daughter called me the other day and told me that her Jeep has developed the dreaded death wobble. When you're driving around, the steering wheel just starts shaking back and forth, mostly on turns, and the faster you go, the worse it gets. I'm not an experienced Jeep owner. I've never owned a Jeep. I'm not a Jeeper. I don't know my way around Jeeps. I don't know anything about the death wobble. I can think of a few things that might cause it. So I'm going to go test drive it, then I'm going to jack it up, I'm going to crawl under it, I'm going to see if there are any obvious signs, and then I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go read old internet forums and read articles on what I need to do. I have no idea when you're going to see this, because I'm going to test drive it today, I'm going to jack it up and crawl under it today, I'm going to look at stuff, but my daughter leaves for out of state in 2 days. There's no way I'm going to get parts and get this thing fixed. I have to work tomorrow. One of my only 2 days I can work on it. So hopefully she survives the next couple of weeks of trip and she can bring it back and I can fix it then, but let's go see what's happening. I cannot figure out that sound, but I'm just looking at her wheels and she's missing an entire lug nut back here. So I'm going to grab the air gun and tighten up all her lug nuts just to be safe. Found an old lug nut to fit on here temporarily. Of course, it is not the same as the others. It's not the same size or anything, but it'll work for right now. Or never mind, it will not work. It is going to chew up that rim if I try to tighten that on there because of the shape of the back of it. So I'm going to have to try to come up with one of these. Here's another wheel. It's got an obvious missing lug nut and it's just replaced with whatever's lying around. I'm not sure who did that. It was not me. I think I'm finally ready to actually try to test drive this. I checked all the lugs. All the ones that are here were tight, but all the tires were low. Front tires were 10 pounds low each. Rear tires were each 15 pounds low. So I got those aired up. Let's go see how bad this thing wobbles. I already know that this thing's in desperate need of shocks and struts. You hit the brakes. Ignore that sound. That's just a water bottle. But this thing dips and dives like crazy under braking and acceleration. I can already tell just here in the neighborhood that we've definitely got something going on the front end. Oops. Yeah, there aren't a whole lot of phone mount options in this thing, but things are, yeah, they are definitely not straight in the front end. All right, the phone isn't going to mount anywhere, so it's just going to sit here. But just a minute ago, right after the phone fell off the mount, I could definitely feel that we've got some walk in the suspension. It's so bad I can't even tell if it's the front or the rear end. Whoa, this thing is more unstable than I ever could have imagined. This has gotten horrible. I'm doing 40 miles per hour and just barely turning the wheel since this thing diving one side to the other. It's horrible. No death wobble yet, but this thing just barely turning the wheel is a disaster. This thing is all over the road. Man. Okay, there we go. It's not showing on camera very much, but just this slight little left-hand turn at 50 miles per hour, I was getting wobble and shake all through the car. I didn't get a true death wobble, but it wasn't even a very tight turn. It was a pretty wide arcing sweeping turn and it was shaking pretty bad. I'm driving in a straight line right now on a straightaway at 55 and the wheel is shaking back and forth in my hand. Yeah, I can only imagine. There hasn't been a clear enough spot in traffic to even attempt to go 60 or 70. So I can't imagine what that's like. There we go. It's not so much the steering wheel, it's the rest of the car. The steering wheel actually isn't shaking very much on right-hand turns, but the whole body is wobbling and vibrating. And that was a very small right-hand turn, a very slow sweeping turn. I can only imagine how hard it would be going around a sharp corner fast. It doesn't help that we're in, whoa, minor left-hand turn. That was the worst shake I've had so far. It doesn't help that I can't get anyone to go over 45 in a 60, so I can't feel this thing at highway speed. Ooh, 50 miles per hour on a straightaway right there, right at 50. And this whole thing is just rattling and shaking like crazy. Based on the fact that if you turn the wheel 1 inch either direction, the car shoots that direction hard, I'm gonna guess the tires possibly doing a little bit of this action. The alignment's probably pretty bad. Turn it this way and the tire just wants to shoot you across the road. But I'm gonna jack it up, crawl under it, see if we've got any ball joints messed up or tie rod ends or anything like that, any bushings burned out. Without even jacking it up, I immediately came to this. Whatever this side strut is leaking like crazy. I can't remember what that's called, but that's not good. And there's nothing above it that's leaking. Can't find anything up above it. I believe it's just coming, yes, it's just coming out of that. Notice this, I have the steering wheel as straight as I can. I pulled in as straight as I can. I'm already noticing this tire is aimed that way just a little. This one is aimed that way a lot. I don't know if you can see that, but this tire is cambered and aimed out. That's not good. All right, I have it up in the air, supported by the front differential. So far, nothing feels horribly wrong. I can move the steering manually, completely by myself with the truck off. But everything looks like it's functioning normally. The tie rod ends and ball joints seem serviceable. There's no knocking, there's no looseness in them. I can't see anything obviously wrong. The bushings, which I suspected were going to be pure trash, aren't as bad as I thought they would be. Everything is dirty, but nothing seems broken or loose. Even the sway bar bushing up here is pretty tight, and this really isn't bad at all. I am not just being paranoid. I cannot get these two tires to aim the same way at the same time. If one of them is straight, one of them is aimed out quite a bit. So there's definitely an alignment issue at minimum. Now that I've scrutinized this a whole lot more and inspected further, this, which is it, tie rod end or ball joint? That's a tie rod end. No, it's a sway bar link. That's a sway bar end with a ball joint on it, completely blown out, dirt and mud and everything inside it. And on the other side is very much the same. That's not good. Yep, whatever this is, the sway bar end link, some type of ball joint on the end of this. This thing is going crazy. That shock is burned out. That end of it's burned out. Like, this is doing nothing. There's dirt and dust coming out of these things when I shake it back and forth. I pulled this tire off to get a better look at this. And it looks like kind of like just a regular ball joint. Oh, great. This one's shot too. Those are two completely separate things. Great, both of these are shot. So all of these are shot. I'm trying to figure out how you get them off of here. There's the other end of this one right here. I can't zoom in very well while I'm doing this, but completely blown out. So that's 4 of these things, and that shock. So I need to find some part numbers and see if I can get these things. go pick up my other daughter. From the 5 minutes of research I've been able to do, it looks like these two ball joints are different than these. These are tie rod ends, so these have to be bought as an entire tie rod end and replaced as a whole piece, it appears. So that'll be fun. I still can't find the part number for that stupid shock right there. I am back from my local O'Reilly's hopefully with all the stuff I need. Not sponsored, just the truth. Should be sponsored by O'Reilly's. I spend like 3/4 of my family's income at that place. But anyway, let's make sure this is what I need. Future Chris here. Not kidding, not joking. Feel free to share this. Tag O'Reilly's Auto Parts. Plug away. The shameless bid for sponsorship. My family and our 8 cars are keeping the local branch going. This air dam thing that's only halfway hanging on here is gonna come off. It is in my way a lot. Look who's here. It's the boy. You gonna help me work on the Jeep, the boy?
Nope.
You're a terrible son.
Yep.
All right, so I've got this drag link together to mock it up, and there's a piece missing. This, no matter how much I crush this down, this will not thread in tightly. On this one, there's an adapter. This threads into this threads in to the big piece. I do not have that, and O'Reilly's did not have that listed. So I'm not sure what to do about that. So apparently you either have to buy new connectors here, because these are 2 male ends, and this male end is a lot smaller than this female end. So either you have to use this factory piece and this factory piece, which, I mean, it's not a problem. I'm sure they're serviceable. The problem is I wanted to take these pieces off, lay them down, and use them to measure these new pieces, which means I need new ones of those. So I've got to try to go back to O'Reilly's and see if I can find those pieces. I'm back from another O'Reilly's trip, and luckily they had everything I needed in stock. Unfortunately, I'm pretty much out of time for the night. Hi, Mama's. Mama's the cat. So I'm gonna kind of throw this together and eyeball it, and I'll wait till tomorrow to take it all apart and try to measure all this. Don't even ask why Jeep designed a sleeve, a male sleeve, for the male end to go in this larger female end instead of just making this all one piece. No one knows, not even Jeep. I got this top piece kind of eyeballed, got it put together. It took me a few minutes to realize that one side of it's reverse thread. There was some confusion why I couldn't get it to go together. But that's standard, that's reverse. This is ready to go in. This is not playing very nicely. I've got to try to find a way to spread this out, open this up to fit this adapter in here easier. It's probably a tomorrow problem. I'm about out of daylight. Started to get this one together also. This is also reverse thread, which I had to figure out myself also, which was a huge pain, but I'm also out of daylight, so this is a morning problem. It's the next morning. Time to get thrashing on this. I'm really not feeling it today, but I gotta try to get this done. This upper drag link here is gonna be extremely difficult to get to. It is right below a frame mount. I have no idea how to get to that damn thing. Am I gonna have to take the pitman arm all the way off just to get to it? This is ridiculous. There is no way to reach that from above either. I was able to get a hand wrench on this, and I was able to break this loose coming over here from the side. I discovered something. Look how loose the suspension is. Just barely bumping this. No suspension left, or no travel left in that shock. Everything in here is just loose as crap. All right, an update. I have these two roughly lined up where they need to be, the proper length compared to the ones on the car. I got this end of this drag link off. It goes on the other side. I spun it around here. I've been trying to get that piece off for well over an hour. Cannot reach it. I don't have a pickle fork or a ball joint separator, and I don't have any way to hit it from the top. It is under the frame no matter what I do. I can't get any leverage to get the pitman arm off either, because as you can see, it's covered up by another piece of suspension that I don't want to take off. This entire thing seems to be designed where you just take the entire front end off the Jeep in order to replace anything, because this is directly under here. No matter where you move it, it is under something and you can't reach the top of it to hit it with anything. I have tried prying on this against this control arm, against this bumper support. I've tried prying on it against everything. So far, I've only managed to actually bend this slightly. This has not budged at all. I've tried the torch. I've tried everything. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to try this bottom one and see if I have any better luck with it, since it's easier to reach. Other side. All right. Well, that was nice and easy. I just forgot about this stabilizer strut. Getting ready to line these two up. I'm gonna go get an exact measurement. I really would have guessed this new one was gonna be thicker, or was gonna be longer, this newer, thicker one. And it looks like it's an ever so slightly shorter. It looks like I narrowed it a little too much, eyeballing it. I got this about right. I'm gonna go get the measuring tape and figure this out. So this is 59 1/4 from the tip of the thread to the tip of the thread. This is 58 15/16. So I back this out just a little over 1/4 inch. I have this dialed in as close to perfect as I possibly can. Laid these end to end as close as I can, eyeballing it, and set the stabilizer bracket. It's a different bracket, but all that really matters is the bolt pin. Got those lined up back to back, so it should be ready to tighten this down, and that should be fully adjusted. Use the impact gun to tighten down the stabilizer bracket, and the stabilizer will be here in a couple hours on the truck, and I'm guessing I'm gonna have to wait and get some kind of pickle fork to get that thing off of there. Let's see if we can at least get this one bar installed and properly, and at least start to get this back together a little. I almost forgot to lock this down into place. That would have been bad, but use the impact gun, got it as tight as humanly possible. That should be one solid piece now. Don't have any kind of press to press fit this, so use the 3-ton floor jack to push this up into place. Then I'll use the impact wrench to tighten that down. The old link on this end was press fit. This one really wasn't. This one pretty much went together by hand and is held in by a cotter pin, or whatever the Europeans and Brits call them. We call them cotter pins. Anyway, that is installed. Went ahead and greased up this joint, as well as ye old trusty hydraulic jack. Need a little top off. It's really weird. The driver's side of both of these links is greasable. The passenger side, neither one of them are greasable. That's crazy to me. I don't understand why they're not all greasable. While I'm waiting on my part to arrive, I decided to kind of pressure fit this. And this is 10 times stronger and more stable than the old ones. It isn't flopping around. I can't move it by hand. Also, all these screw together, bolt together joints like that, and down there on that end, I hit them with hammers to make sure that they're stable and strong. I don't really like this squeeze together stuff, but beat them pretty hard and they didn't budge, so hopefully They're strong enough. I don't want to take any chances with my daughter out on the open road. Even though this is torqued down with an impact wrench, I sure wish this was had a cotter pin through it. I put some high temp exhaust silicone gasket maker on there to dissuade any thoughts it might have of trying to back off and come apart. Will it do any good? I don't know. It's a good peace of mind. While I'm sitting around waiting and don't have anything to do right now, this is what this old joint looked like. I know they're not the ball joints for the suspension, but it's a ball joint type joint. Whatever. I did not hit this with a torch or do anything to it except take it off, and this was the condition of them. So that's why everything's so loose, and I can just flop this around by hand. The new ones, you can't do that. The new ones don't budge at all by hand. Actually a little overly stiff if you ask me, but that's good. I'm back from the parts store with the new steering stabilizer and a pickle fork. There are 3 sizes of these available. I got the one in the middle because I don't know which one I need exactly, and I'm gonna hope it works because this is a ball joint on a pitman arm, but they list 3 different. There's a difference between a ball joint fork and a pitman arm forks. I picked the one in the middle. I might have needed the ever so slightly narrower one. Victorious, huzzah! It worked. $15 with tax saved me hours of frustration. Best $15 ever. The old one is 41 3/16 thread end to thread end. Now to dial this thing in. I've got this as close as I can get it with a basic measuring tape. Torque this down with the air impact wrench, and now I'm ready to install it. For whatever reason, just like the lower rod, this one on the driver's side isn't press fit with an impact. You just hand tighten it, fill it with grease, and use an impact on that one. Now this one's a cotter pin, just like the lower one. Just like with the bottom arm, this one over here just goes in by hand. It just slides in, and it's going to be a castle nut and a cotter pin also. It's going on really tight just by hand. And just like the bottom arm on this side, I'm pressing this one in with the jack, and I'm going to drive this on with the impact, and then put a little bit of a gasket seal on to keep it from backing out. Everything is on, everything is together, everything is tightened and torqued, and gasket seal on every thread to dissuade them from backing out. Pro tip: put your stabilizer shock on before putting this bottom bar on, so you can use your impact and not have to do that by hand. But I think this is ready to be put together and test driven. Back on the ground with all new matching shiny lug nuts all around. Time to drive it. Future Chris here. I forgot to thank my beautiful wife in this video. She actually came out off camera, helped me with quite a few things. She put the tires on, put the new lug nuts on. She held some of the suspension parts while I hit them and pried on them and torqued them down, and a bunch of other stuff. She helped me get this thing back together off camera, and I really appreciate it. Okay, despite my best efforts, this obviously is not straight. Not sure how I got the steering wheel so off center, but I'm going to go back and try to adjust that before I do any more test driving. Alright, I guess I'll go ahead and take it out on the road real quick. The steering wheel is cockeyed to the side real bad. Not sure how I managed that, but yeah, straightening the steering wheel turns us about 10 degrees to the right. I guess I'll go and see how bad it is at speed. If that's the worst part of it, not a big deal. I'm doing 60 miles per hour. It's definitely not perfect, but I'm not getting the steering wheel fighting me. It's not trying to pull the steering wheel out of my hand. I'm not getting the vibration and the shake throughout the truck that I was. I'm going 65, taking a corner, We still got a little bit of wobble, but it's nowhere near like it was. So we've definitely got more stability. It's just definitely not aligned. Other than the steering wheel being cocked to the side, I'm actually doing really well. At the red light, I naturally straightened the steering wheel, and when I started to drive off, I almost hit the curb on the right. It does throw you off, but we're going straight down the road with no hands, 50 miles per hour. It's just going down the road, even with a headwind and a side wind. So it's going fairly straight. I think with an alignment, we'd be back in business. For some reason, these lights are on in the dash now. Reading online, it seems that they're some kind of wheel speed sensor thing, which I might have jacked up doing the suspension. I'm not sure, but I'm not having any negative consequences with anything. The brakes are working. Everything seems to be fine. Having the same problem I had yesterday. I can't get anyone to do more than 45 in the 60 or 65, so I can't really get it up to highway speed to test it. It's ridiculous how crowded our little country community has gotten. Brake system seems to be working fine. No problems. The anti-lock brakes, we're stopping perfectly straight. So I'm actually pretty pleased with this. I mean, I do want to get it up to highway speed eventually, but so far up to 50, we're doing great. All right, taking a corner right now, right-hand corner at 60. Pretty straight. Here we go, straight away, no traffic. 70 miles per hour. It's not perfect. 75. It's not perfect, but I mean, it's not yanking the wheel out of my hand. It's not shaking to pieces. It's straight enough. 70 miles per hour. You know what? To hell with it. I'm declaring victory. Huzzah! Taking it home. Good enough. I'm exhausted. All right, I just noticed on a sharp corner, when you turn to the left, things are pretty normal, pretty smooth. When you pull the wheel to the right, it's shooting across the road again. It's jerking suddenly with very little movement of the steering wheel. It's pulling real hard right. Left, pretty normal, pretty smooth. So yeah, definitely needs an alignment. So I know what's wrong with the steering wheel being cockeyed. The pitman arm adjustment where the two males go together, the steering wheel is cocked off to the left. I need to spin everything to the right, but we're trying to find an emergency short notice alignment appointment to have someone professionally laser align this thing. But I know that's what I did wrong. That's why the steering wheel is like it is. So this is straight right now. Not my best work, but my first ever Jeep suspension work. It is safer than it was. I'm gonna go ahead and declare a victory. And I think that's about it. We're going to have it professionally aligned, and we're going to send the daughter on her trip and hope and pray for the best. Wish her luck. Thank you for watching. I got to go. I'm out of time. I appreciate it. An update. My daughter was able to get a last-minute emergency alignment. The Jeep is driving straight as an arrow, and she leaves for her trip in the morning. An update to the update. My daughter made it to her destination 715 miles away. The Jeep was running amazingly well, perfectly smooth as silk, pleasant drive, so everything was a success. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.